A beautiful day to you. It's Citizen Dialogue on First Next. Today, three very different stories from across the world are raising the same tough questions about responsibility, accountability, and consequences. Nigeria's embassy in South Africa plunged into darkness over unpaid electricity bills. In China, a former justice minister is sentenced to life in prison over a multi-million-dollar bribery scandal. And back home here in Nigeria, 6 people are killed in a fatal crash involving a speeding trailer on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Bringing you this update is Kasitoni. Let's take a closer look at the stories. In South Africa, the Nigerian High Commission has had 8 electricity disconnected over unpaid bills, triggering diplomatic embarrassment and raising concerns about how Nigeria manages its foreign commissions. Meanwhile, in China, a former justice minister has been sentenced to life imprisonment after being found guilty of accepting more than $20 million in bribes, a case Beijing says sends a strong message in their anti-corruption drive. And back home in Nigeria, tragedy struck on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, where a speeding trailer crashed, killing 6 people and once again drawing attention to the dangers on one of the country's busiest highway. On the surface, these stories appear unrelated: a diplomatic dispute, a corruption conviction, and a road accident. But together, they point to a broader issue, which is accountability. Whether it's how a country manages its diplomatic responsibilities, how leaders are punished for corruption, or how road safety laws are enforced, the real question is the same: are consequences strong enough to change behavior, or do we only act after damage has already been done? To help us understand whether actions like this can actually prevent future violations, whether in diplomacy, governance, or public safety, when we return, we will be joined by our very own political and public policy analyst, Kings Ojalo. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show, Citizen Dialogue. I remain your host, Kasitoni, and with me in the studio is Kings Ojalo. Hello, Kings.
Hello, Cassie.
A beautiful day to you.
Thanks so much.
You look dashing.
As usual.
As usual, right? Okay, with the story behind this, all of these 3 things happening, I think they all point to one thing, which is actually accountability, right?
Yeah.
Now, in South Africa, our embassy, Nigerian embassy, this is actually very embarrassing. I myself am feeling so embarrassed for our country.
You shouldn't be embarrassed.
I shouldn't be embarrassed,
no,
right? Like, this country is owing an international country. They are owing light bill, and the embarrassment is so much that they have to cut off their own light bill.
If you look at the state of that report where it came from, which is in the province of Shanwatima, that is one of the provinces in South Africa, where the Nigeria embassy is based on. Looking at that area, it's a very, very designated area, well recognized. You understand? Just as how we have most embassies located in Victoria Island, in Lagos, and thereabouts. And coming from that, I believe Nigeria is not the only embassy located in that place. But for the fact that our federal government, prior to this time, could neglect the fact that we have an embassy in a country or a region like this, and should I use the word, totally abandon that project, because I see it as a project. Having an embassy in diaspora in various countries is also part of the projects of each federal government of different nations. You understand? So for the fact that Nigeria could neglect, and this is a country where we are highly recognized. You understand? The population in South Africa is becoming high and outrageous these days because you understand, because of their economic stability, and we have a lot of Nigerians over there who are into 1 or 2 businesses. Now, looking at this news and scenario now, what does it tell of us? What does it speak of Nigeria? You understand? recently we've heard of a budget passed to law by our president, you understand, and we are talking about 1 point something trillion. We are talking about $500 billion thereabout, using for the economic stability to do this and do one or two things. I think this money should be circulated in all ratification, you understand. It shouldn't just be, in one spot. And if you look at it, is this, when I mean circulation, we also, even within the country system, we could also see some lapse, you understand. So what I want to say, if the president cannot address the inward situations, inward crisis happening in Nigeria, how then should he, you understand? Look, the president is not too, his mind is not too filled not to know what is happening around, or not to have concerns over the properties of Nigeria, even in diaspora. Okay, because as I usually say, things like this might end up bringing bad reputation to the country system. You understand? What will it tell of us, or what will the South Africa government think about the country who, you understand, cannot afford to pay electricity bill for their own embassy? We are talking about 600, I think, 600 round. That's their currency, which is approximately $35,000.
Yes.
You understand? The current one was not even stated. We are talking about a debt hold 2023. You understand? So that is to say, approximately it will be more than, let me say, $50,000 we might be owing. You know, if the calculation of statistics is very is well calculated till 2026.
I'm sorry to interject. We also informed that after they must have made it public, they still went back to say, okay, it has been paid.
It has been paid.
So why would they wait for the embarrassment? So this kind of embarrassment. What does this embarrassment really tell about Nigerians?
It seems our government don't know the stand of this country. You understand? They don't really know how highly recognized we are, even in this west region of Africa. You understand? If they do, I think they will learn to, prioritize everything that concerns Nigeria, appropriately. So that is what our federal government, are lacking. If they really, I think it's enough of our name be tarnished, enough of our name be, criticized all over the world, because we are everywhere. Nigerians are here everywhere, and I don't like the fact that Nigerians being in diaspora are being given bad reputation every time. You understand? Because a whole lot of people have that zeal and desire to go out there to make impact, and also engage in one or two activities. Now when you are out there and you are being looked with a kind of certain look because of your nationality, it's so bad and it's so embarrassing. So these are the things our government, I believe the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been traveling around the globe, and I believe these are things he is supposed to be addressing. You understand? He was recently in Turkey. I remember even when South Africa had this 5G presidential meeting, where delegates, presidents all over the globe came together. Yes, I think that was when the Kebbi incident happened. He didn't go, but I think the vice president was asked to take that trip.
That was last year.
Yes, that was last year. You understand? These are the things at least you went to this country, and I believe your first arrival should be in the embassy. Get there. What is the current situation of this building? What is the current situation? At least the first president talking about Shetima can't say he wasn't aware of such. You understand? And if probably he wasn't aware, but at least you should be able to, as your primary assignment, you should be able to look at that situation. So it's really uncalled for if our president can't meet the demands and needs of things like this that are really affecting, that really concerns the country and also the economic system of the country, and not making move in putting things in order. You see, our names are really been criticized all over the globe, and it's getting out of hand. So our president, and also those who are in charge of various departments, various ministers of various departments, should please make sure that things are put in order that concerns Nigeria.
Okay, so beyond settling this debt, what are those systems, those things that need to be put in place to prevent further embarrassment from international bodies?
That is why most times in the House of Assembly, budgets are being submitted by the president, funds are being collected from federal allocations, and so with those funds, I believe it should be circulated. You understand?
Yeah.
You see people, organizations coming out like the NED, NSC, Joint Union Force coming out to protest. These funds, what are they? The question is, these funds, what are they used for? It should be used to settle these things. Even this in this situation too. Just imagine our embassy. It's a shameful thing. Let me put it that way. It doesn't make sense. So the president with these funds, enough of trying to roll about an election. It's too early for that. It's too early for that, because it looks as if the funds, the federal funds, are being used for probably their 1 or 2 election rally and there. But I think it's too early for that. We are not saying they shouldn't go for the election rally, but please make sure that the budgets, the funds that are released from federal allocations pocket, it's being spent on the things that concerns the economy.
All right, thank you so much. So China's former minister has been jailed for bribery. We understand that he was one time a minister, and then after he left office, it was discovered that some funds were being embezzled or then through illegal way, and approximately those funds are more than up to $20 million. Now, looking at China said they don't tolerate corruption, that they give it to you as it is. Now, China often presents cases like this as a proof of zero tolerance, irrespective of who you are or whatever your position is. So how effective is this conviction?
I think on the 2nd of February 2026, I was talking about recently, the former Minister of Justice, we are looking at the name of Tang Yijun, was arrested due to he was
illegal way of
bribing. This is just bribing, not fraud, or he did not steal. He was bribed due to probably 1 or 2 misjustice. Maybe someone in the political affair as well used him to gain some certain to achieve some certain things. We are talking about just bribing now, you understand. And we all know that China carry many they have several legal, political and professional consequences ranging from ministerial level, political level, and so they don't joke with their policies, they don't joke with their institution, and all countries have institutions, but this is a country that takes their own very, very serious. So no matter who you are, and these consequences are, we're not just talking about just only imprisonment. It also, there are also death consequences, and also politicians don't escape this over there. Now tell me why with a country like China not develop? Let's be honest. You understand? Just like I mentioned, every country has their own constitution. They have their own consequences. Even here in Nigeria, we have consequences whereby ministers or politicians or ex-politicians and thereabout, should face if they are found guilty or wanted, by the court of law. But unfortunately, like Nigeria, those things are not put to use. That is why we are that's why we are facing what we are facing today. You understand? So looking at this allegation that was raised on the former minister of Minister of Justice in China, you understand, which I think it was $20 million, which was
$20 million
that was involved in that. Approximately in their currency, I think it was up to 122 million yen. Yes. Now you can see the rate exchange. Now, let me come back home to our country, because I really like this topic. It's very, very interesting.
Before you come back to the country, I was about asking, if we want to compare these corruption cases to other countries, let's say Nigeria as an example, if there's any, what lesson can our own Nigerian government draw from this particular thing that just happened? This
is not the first time Nigerian government has been seeing things like this.
Exactly, because they've been catching
they are not ready to learn any lesson for it, because they feel all guilty. So when they try to get any lesson for it, it might affect them. That is just the truth. Example, look at the case of Yahaya Bello, the former governor of Kogi State. You understand? If you could recall, there was funds that was that was it was probed. It was probed of, I think, 800 80 billion or so. I think 2 years when he left office by the EFCC, and it was taken by the EFCC. The way the whole matter went, Nigeria can't tell till today. I think for over how many years now they've still been on that allegation, and it has not been solved. This is the same person that was probed for a huge amount of money stolen from federal from state funds, yet he is still in it. And one of the consequences in China, if you are found guilty, if you are being detained by the security forces of being involved in money laundering or whatever, the first thing they do, you are being suspended from your political party. You are being suspended from so many rights.
Yeah.
In your from, if you understand, from your previous position.
Yes.
Even when you leave a certain position, you have to still belong to a platform.
Yes.
But you are immediately removed.
Which is
but
very
here in
painful.
Nigeria, the Yaya Bello is still, even as we speak, he still belongs to the APC party. Even trying to contest election against we're talking about what is her name, Natasha. You understand? Just imagine. Recently, yes, his passport to travel to diaspora was seized, but recently he was giving back his traveling means so that he can go for Hajj in Mecca. Just imagine. What are we talking about? Is it the case of Malami? Even ×3 of this amount, and have various properties in different states, even in diaspora. You understand? He was taken to Kuje prison. The next day, he was released. The DSS, the case now, we don't even know. Probably tomorrow or next week now, you will be heard that he's not found guilty. Tell me, how will a country like Nigeria grow when we have politicians or top personals who are raveling the country's funds or state funds and they go scot-free? How? But when someone in the market still just common maybe 100 naira is being ambushed and giving Jogo justice.
Exactly.
So what are we talking about?
All right, thank you so much, Kings Ojalo. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we will be discussing the accident that happened at Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show, Citizen Dialogue. I remain your host, Kasitoni, and with me is Kings Ojalo. Kings, on Monday, there was an accident at Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and we were informed that 6 persons died, 23 injured. Now, the Road Safety Corps said this accident happened as a result of fatigue and excessive speeding. Now, these truck drivers, one time I had a conversation with a truck driver, and I asked him, why are you guys always high? Because I saw him buying sachet drink. So I asked him, what do you want as a driver? You drive truck. Why are you taking this drink? He said it's an inspiration. That drinking gives them an inspiration. Now, we are very certain that this fatigue wasn't just an ordinary fatigue. Some of them will get tired, they won't want to rest. They will overspeed. This accident has occurred and keep occurring from truck drivers. So what is the measure? What do we do?
It's very simple. The FRSCA, they've done their job, is because I also give them kudos, except some of them who are, we also have some corrupt ones among them, but nevertheless, I still know the fact that there are some policies they are strict about, wearing your seat belts, reduce your speed limits, because they always raise the awareness. But
still, road users don't apply that.
Well, it's unfortunate that most times Nigerians, sometimes if you look at it, most of the time are always the cause of their own problem. In the fact that the government has, bring out some inspectors in these formats, in the RFC call. That's what I'm talking about. And we neglect their rules and regulations. And these are people in charge of our road for the safety and well-being of our driving system. And now, when you neglect them, what do you expect? You understand? So you know, in accordance to that, you know, I think the incident happened in Lagos, just as you said, in Lagos Ibadan Expressway, which the commissioner of the RRC unit in Ogun State clarified the death, and also not some injured persons were taken to hospital, while 6 deceased were taken straight to the mortuary due to overspeeding, just as it has been noted. And now most cases it might not really be the cause of maybe being drunk or being high, just as you made known. Most times we also look at the some bad spots and roads in our federal highway. Let's be honest with ourselves. Now let me use that same Lagos, or let me use Benin Lagos Express Road, or is it even Benin Saple Road, where you go to currently, and the place is so is not even is uncalled for. You can't even recognize that place as a road. It's still, you understand, gallops, the drains, call them. So outside being high driving, our roads need to be fixed. You understand? Yes, kudos to the president who is working on the Lagos Calabar Expressway. We know about that one. But this road that are main routes that people know so far should be maintained, because these are the things that these are in fact bad roads are the highest contribution to accidents. Let's be honest. Now,
I agree with you. Bad roads are the major problems that we are experiencing in the country. But I will still insist that these truck drivers, they are the reason why there is always accident. Have you ever seen where normal vehicles and smaller vehicles have accidents? It's always trailer.
Yes.
Let me shock you. This morning on my way to work, there was an accident on the road, and it's a truck driver. Now, how did this accident happen? This walkover for pedestrians. How did truck driver leave the driving road to the pedestrian? How did that happen? It's because of recklessness, tiredness, and overspeeding. Because if the driver wasn't tired or he was not overspeeding, there's no way he will not see the walkover. He won't see the pedestrian road to avoid. But he drove to that place.
Now, you see, Cassie, you see in these truck drivers and drivers who are giving lorries to drive and thereabout, you see, I think there have been policies, even from the House of Senate. They've made it known that these people should always use the night roads, that in drive at night. Outside that, they've made it known to organizations, companies, that please make sure you checkmate your drivers, inspect your drivers, make sure that these people you are giving this truck to are well experienced and well, trained drivers. But unfortunately, you see most of this company giving the trucks to little boys. I'm talking about age 21. Some of them are not even, probably age 18. I know what I'm saying. So tell me, people who are not strong enough to hold the steering of a truck, or they're strong enough to hold the steering of a car or even a machine, how can you go ahead and start giving them?
This guy smoke and drink while driving.
No, I'm coming to that.
The fact that they are not
drinking or being high aspect.
Now they smoke and drink while driving.
Now you see that age rate. It's also it's one of the major causes of this accident. Now the drinking aspect you are talking about. Recently, NAFDAC the NAFDAC institution sachet drinks, and
aside dissolving sachet drink, now they have bottle drinks. They've been cigarettes.
They've been cigarette.
Because they smoke.
They've been protected on that aspect. Now look, it might not really be easy for this to come to the aspect of drinking to come to, because it is now used to the system of most of these people.
Now we need solution. How do we stop truck drivers from having accidents on the road? That's the solution.
It's very easy. The custom officers need to do their job. Organizations need to do their job, because most customs now, what they do is just to stop them, collect money, look around, and
they don't even look around.
Just so what are we talking about? Even the police, the same thing. They should be totally inspected, as in check regularly. Then organizations, we are talking about smart companies and thereabout. Please, before you give trucks to any individual, make sure they are very well experienced, people who are mature and who can handle that job. That is the only solution. There is no other solution to it. And again, the Senate should also approve the use of the rule of night movements for these trucks, because in most foreign countries, like in UK right now, trucks don't move daytime, just midnights. That is where they move.
Incident that experience happen at night, not in the daytime.
Safe well-being of motorists. You understand? But you see a situation whereby a long vehicle is, dragging the road with a small Hyundai or Toyota Camry. What do you expect? And in the aspect of driving on the wrong way, probably that one might be because of highness or something, or maybe someone who is not strong enough to hold. And you see most of them are being driven by this so-called let me not call certain tribe who are big. But it's unfortunate that organizations too don't make sure that they are giving these trucks to people who can really handle the job. So these are the things and measures that will be taken for these so-called trucks to stop destroying our road, causing accidents, or taking the life of innocent citizens of the country.
Thank you so much, Kings Ojalo. So from diplomatic lapses to corruption breakdowns and deadly road accidents, today's story reminds us that accountability only matters when it leads to real change. Paying bills on time, punishing corruption consistently, and enforcing traffic laws strictly are not just administrative duties. They save reputation, protect public trust, and most importantly, save life. And that's it on Citizen Dialogue. Many thanks for watching. I remain your host, Kasitoni. Stay tuned, stay informed, and do have a wonderful day. Bye for now.